Good morning or afternoon or evening or middle of the night or whenever the fuck you're watching or listening to this. I'm not doing this in the middle of the night, otherwise I wouldn't be having this delicious cup of coffee. It's from Dune Roasters. I'm going to do a quick coffee review of it. Still using drink coffee. One day I'll learn the name, or I'll never learn it. That might be the way I go. Less effort that way to never learn. I did learn how to make coffee, and was that ever worth it? I'm in town all month. No, I'm not on the road. I'm going to make some stupid fucking videos. I'm going to do some dumb fucking podcasts. And I'm going to just try and get through the holidays. I don't like them. They make me depressed. They make me annoyed. The end of the year stuff always reminds me of like, oh yeah, life has sucked. I don't want to say sucked, like life in general sucks, but you know, like goals you've set, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, fuck, another year and another list of things I didn't do. And I have it on my birthdays and I have it at the end of the year. Those are just markers. I'm trying to work my way through them. And it's probably not necessarily the healthiest idea, which is just like, oh, nerd, you know, but it helps, and I do need to be working. And it feels nice to be able to like dive into something that you want to do and learn, and then come out of it a couple hours later feeling like, yeah, I moved forward an inch. And even, you know, even learning one new thing a day or just moving forward 1% still is better than where I was yesterday. And I was trying to remember that, and it's not a race, it's a marathon, blah, 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 all that stuff. And it's helpful. So is meditation and therapy and depression and anxiety medication and exercise, which I'm not doing enough of. I had to cancel my gym membership because I needed to use all of the money I had to make my special, and that's been a rough one. Not being able to work out is... It sucks. Can you see it in my face? That's how I feel when I walk around. Not fun to feel lethargic and just gross and just, you know, even though it's mostly mental, because, you know, even at our least healthy, all we have to do is pull up any photo of Ari Shaffir, and then we'll feel better, and we'll just know like, oh, well, I don't look like that, so that's good. And damn, I should have had a picture of Ari ready to go. Well, I can add one. I'm adding one now. See, like that. We don't look. Now I feel better. That's my gym. That's my new gym. Dude, Ari's special just hit 5 million views. That's so awesome, man. I was at that taping, and it was really great. The DIY aspect of it was so impressive. Having the idea of what you want to do, hiring the people, putting it together, and these are the things that we dreamt about as comics when we were starting, and there was no way to do it in the early 2000s and even the mid, probably up till like 2012, 13. You know, I put my first audio stand-up album out in 2014, and even that was still like, all right, you gotta hire the guys and, you know, pay for the equipment and this and that, and the equipment cost more than it does now. Like, as technology gets better, the stuff from a decade ago is like pennies now. And I mean, people are filming whole specials on their phones and shit. Granted, they're still going to look good on digital cameras designed for film, at those Sony FX30s or whatever. There's always still going to be the better version. But to the things you can get away with now and do them as an independent producer, like, God, man, I like sitting there at that taping. It felt like a Comedy Central, Netflix, HBO taping. It was crews of people walking around doing things, you know? I felt good for him and good for me and good for all my comedian friends who were there. I saw like Fahim, he just recorded and released one similar way, a little bit lower budget, but did it in a creative way, and that came out great, and it really helped push me towards like doing one of my own too. Those are things we just didn't have back then. It was, and I'm saying back then like it was 40 years ago, but technology wise it might as well have been a century ago. There was no way you could just, oh, I'm going to hire a crew and get 5 cameras and then post-production and all this stuff, get an audience out there before there was social media. How were any of us supposed to do that? The answer is we weren't. The answer is we sat there and we wrote material and then we went and performed it, and then we just did that. We did all that we could do, was the preparation, the getting stage time and performing everywhere and working the road and just really grinding and getting the material. And then after that, it was like, and for most people, it's just, if you could have all the talent in the world, and if you weren't easy to get along with or you didn't have a good business sense, it was just like, bye. And, you know, a lot of those people have figured it out now because they don't need the mainstream system, which is like just blown apart and just so fragmented. And I think that's awesome. Fame isn't what it used to be. There are different ways. There are so many micro niches, and there isn't just the one thing. There's a million popular things, and each one is just as valid as the one right next to it. And it's allowed people to make stuff and create things and put them out there. And I'm just excited to see what, like, my special is being edited now, and I'm just so excited to see the finished product and to just put it out there. And I don't plan on 5 million views. That's like a whole levels and levels above in terms of like podcast and YouTube subscribers. Still, there's a way to get there. You never know what's going to happen when you make and put something out. Even like individual videos that people make that have nothing to do with stand-up. They'll just make stuff, and then one day something will go like ultra viral, and then they have like 1 million followers, and they're like, shit, all right, well, here's, you know, the brush is cleared, and I didn't even really do much of the clearing, and now there's just a path to some form of success that I didn't see the day before. And that's just, it has democratized creativity. Just having equipment, being able to, like, you know, I have a camera switcher that I can just go back and forth with, and that kind of stuff. That, who knows, I got that donated to me by a Patreon subscriber. I mean, if like someone came to me in 2004 and told me, okay, in the not even too distant future, there are going to be ways to just connect with fans that isn't writing a fucking letter and corresponding, and beyond even email, there are going to be whole websites where people just go to that because they like you, and then they go, here is money for the things that you do. And then they'll also do that with other people, and you're gonna go, how, why? I mean, you know, you have people that support what you do, sometimes, a lot of times, for comedians in places that they've never been. And in 2005, if I had never gone to Ohio to do comedy, not a single person in that entire state would have had any idea who I was, even if I had done a late night appearance. And now you can go on someone else's podcast in a state that's still not even Ohio, and then thousands of people in Ohio can be like, I just watched that guy be interviewed, do something funny, and then I went to his YouTube or her TikTok and then watched them create stuff, and now I'm on board. Fuck. It's truly incredible. Like, there are like slight downsides that people complain about, you know, where you can say and do whatever you want, more so than ever. It's just as easy that someone will find that thing from whereverville and then go, I don't like that, fuck this guy, and then complain about it. But like, hey, that's the other side of that coin, man. If you want to be able to make shit and then just release it into the world, like, prepare for every single possible outcome. Millions of followers, money that comes pouring in through YouTube ads and Patreon dollars, and then people who want to see you crumble because they thought your bit was anti-insert thing. Can't have it both ways. That's just, you buy into this new system. That's what's going to happen. And a lot of times people don't want to accept it, because especially comics, it's like we're egomaniacal fucking control freaks a lot of the time. It's like there's a reason we want to be on stage by ourselves under a bunch of lights talking at you guys. And then you're only allowed to talk to us when we select you. And usually it's to be made fun of. I mean, so of course, when someone from like fucking London decides you're a homophobe and didn't really dig through to find out what your joke really meant or blah, 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 of course comics are going to fucking lash out, because we have no control over that situation. And we weren't watched or listened to in the exact way that we wanted, you know? And for the comics who've been around a decade plus, we've gotten used to a certain way where we go to a comedy club and we have the time to be able to lay something out, even if it's new, and work through it. And if the new bit's somewhere in the middle, the audience is usually like, okay, I've gotten a sense of who this comic is. So like that bit wasn't there, but I'm not going to draw these conclusions about what it may or may not be. And then rinse and repeat until the bit gets good. But those days are over. If you want to put something unfinished, or even if someone's going to film something that's unfinished, if you want to have an online presence and reap the benefits, that's the other side of it. And there is, for now, no way around it. These are growing pains and adjustment periods that sometimes fucking suck, and other times are unfairly good. By that I mean, like, sometimes you look around and you go like, this is almost free money sometimes. We don't think that's going to be the other side of the coin, where it's like unfair in a bad way, and everyone's learning how to navigate it. Everyone is to a degree right, and everyone's to a degree wrong. And that's a super like down the middle way to view it, but like that's how it is. That is just how it is. The amount of people complaining on both sides, the creative side and the audience viewer side, they're going down, because we're all adjusting and figuring out the new normal and how to navigate. People aren't just up in arms over anything anyone says on stage or, you know, in a podcast in the same way, because we've either realized like, okay, well, maybe it's not. Maybe I shouldn't feel something, then immediately start typing away in the comment section. And a lot of comics now have sort of taken pause and been like, is this that funny, or should I just spout things off because I'm technically allowed to? I mean, we've been censoring ourselves forever. I remember back in the early 2000s, a lot of us would be sitting at the Comedy Store, and, you know, one of us would get a late night appearance or something, and we would then work through the set. You would submit versions, and then they would give you notes, and then you would change things or remove a bit entirely and put another one in if you didn't want to change it too much. And that is self-censorship on one level or another. Some network, some fucking gatekeeping idiot that doesn't know fuck all about comedy is sitting there going like, I don't think that's funny. And in our heads, we're like, you don't fucking know what's funny. Fuck you is what we wanted to say. Instead, we're just like, yeah, no, great. I can sub in another thing, or how about this other sentence that may not offend some housewife in Ohio? We have been doing that forever. And there are people who are just like, late night's not for me. It's not the kind of comedy I do. I don't want to write and do something completely different. And hey, that's fine as well. They went their own way and probably maybe even found success in podcasting and stuff because they didn't have to censor even a little bit. But make no mistake, when we were auditioning at other comedy clubs, for the most part, we were not just walking in the door saying anything and everything that was on our mind, or doing any material that we were just like, this is me in this moment and this is what you're getting. You know how many times you wanted to make fun of a club, but then you knew that the owners were like, oh yeah, they don't like when you make fun of their backdrop, or, you know, how shitty the venue looks, until you really get in here. And plenty of comics, who were just like, no one can tell me what to say. Hey man, if you wanted to get on Letterman or whatever incarnation of the Tonight Show, you didn't talk about Target or Best Buy. You changed it because you wanted to reap the benefits. Now it's sort of the other way, where the benefits are first, which is complete freedom to say and do whatever you want. But then it's like the trouble might be later on. And we don't know what it is. We don't know what the thing is going to be. We just, just a gamble. You take the risk, you do it. And a lot of times it totally pays off. And it's been paying off in ways that we never, I don't think, imagined in the mid 2000s, where we would write material, perform it, try and get on one of the network late night shows, which still made kind of a decent difference, and then try and get some sort of like Comedy Central or HBO, or that kind of was it. Maybe Showtime had a special here and there, but those weren't real destinations. It was HBO, Comedy Central with like the next level up where you got a half hour or an hour, and then you just like would work the road, and then you try and like shift into TV and film, write a show about your life or about whatever that you could star in, or audition and start doing movies and just be an actor or something. And then you could use that fame to go do stand-up. Now you don't have to do any of that stuff. You can start a podcast somewhere pick a place. I don't care, Maine, middle of nowhere Maine. If you're funny, if you're creative, if you can edit, like you can figure it out, and then you can start doing stand-up. And as a stand-up purist, I'm not the biggest fan of that, where you do the other stuff first and then all of a sudden you're playing improvs and it's not going to be a great stand-up show. But whatever, they'll hopefully figure it out. Or they'll go, this is nice to do the live thing and make a little bit of money, but I want to go make other stuff. And great, we can all equally have that from anywhere. And then old model it wasn't like it was fucking fair or geared towards creatives. It was not. Those late night bookers didn't give a fuck about what was really funny. They're just like, what's not going to offend my bosses? What's not going to get me in trouble? What's going to just fit the style of this show? Here and there, great comics got to get in there and be great and not really water down. It happened. But for the most part, there are a ton of comics I know and respect, and you watch them on late night and you're like, that's barely a representation of what they really do. And they just used it to get to the next level. They knew it, we knew it, we all knew it, and we censored ourselves and we changed things and did it because we had to. It really is so much better now. The evidence was, it's kind of all over, but the last time I felt it in real life was when I went to Ari's taping, and it was all right there. He didn't have to change any. He's a great example of someone who just had to wait, and like the networks and Comedy Central, all these places didn't care. Fahim, same way. He said it the other day, posted something about how his special got written up in the LA Times and New York Times. He made it himself, posted that thing on fucking YouTube. They never gave him the time of day. They didn't give me the time of day. They didn't give so many funny, creative people the time of day because they had other things in mind. And now, it's a whole different game out there. There's comics that make a bunch of fucking money doing it this way. The podcasts and stand-up, making ad dollars and stuff, and they still find a way to be like, I am the victim. I was in the middle of working out a bit, and, it sucks. It does. But you know what's worse? No one ever hearing you work out any bit. That's worse. That's way worse. Just being stuck in a city, wishing you could go on the road. Like, shitty road. One-nighters, bar shows, like not even comedy venues that, you got to string a bunch of them together and they don't pay for anything. Hotel, airline, any of that stuff. You would wish that you had that opportunity because you wanted to make a few new fans in Southeast fucking Montana, if there's even a town there, and you would like, oh, I wish I could have that. And I'm starting to sound like an old man. These young guys don't know what they have. It's better now. It is better now. Anyway, my special will come out probably January, February, most likely on YouTube. I'll send it to the gatekeepers, and they will say no for reasons that are going to be dumb. And again, No complaints. The reason there's no complaints, because there's YouTube. Or they'll bring it up in conversation and be like, oh yeah, I watched that guy special. Nah. And then that person watches it and they go, yeah, I disagree with my friend. I liked it. These are all victories. They really are. They truly are victories. If you want to focus in on fucking freedom of speech and all this other fucking nonsense shit, go read a book on what freedom of speech is and how it works in America and how our government's set up and what the difference is between a company that says you can't say this and the federal fucking government telling you can't say it there or anywhere. And then shut up because you're wrong. A lot of people will complain about this is freedom of speech. They're keeping us down and they're not letting us be free. And these same motherfuckers walk around applauding Elon Musk. You think that dude is celebrating your or anyone else's freedom? That dude has more money than anyone on earth. It's money that could solve and end world hunger, and he's keeping it for himself. That dude's not on your side. If you gave Musk any sort of actual power in the government, he would not even hesitate to immediately make himself even richer and not care if you died of starvation as a direct result. That dude's a piece of shit who doesn't give a fuck about any of our freedom. Not to mention, he's not even American. He's the one guy, by the way, who we can all say the phrase, go back to Africa. And it's not racist and it's not like bad. It's good. Fuck you. Get the fuck out of here. Buying social media platforms so he can let us say what we want again as if we weren't allowed to. All just for that. It's a bottomless pit of attention that fucking asshole wants. The one good thing he did was push electric vehicles into the mainstream. I don't think he's responsible for the technology or any of that stuff. The one good thing about egomaniacs is they will force their will. And sometimes it ends up being good. Steve Jobs and the iPhone and all that innovation. I mean, he was a lunatic. It takes a lunatic to just be like, I'm going to change the world. And sometimes it's like for the better in the case of all the Apple innovations and stuff. And in this case, it's a split because he pushed electric vehicles into the mainstream and now it's like a viable moneymaker. But everything else about him is like, he's a piece of garbage. I mean, you're willingly using like child slave labor to mine shit to fucking make your batteries. Again, I don't have all the fucking facts. I just know enough about the kind of guy that is as like, he's not on our side. You and me, regular, non-billionaire or millionaire people, that guy's not on our side. He doesn't care about freedom of speech. He doesn't care about freedom of anything. He cares about, I want more money, and then he wants to run around having more kids that he doesn't care about. If you knew that guy on a regular person level, a guy who's just me, not a rich guy, not fancy and has celebrity girlfriends and flashy shit, just a regular dude who had that personality and has like 10 children running around that he doesn't really care about and doesn't give back ever, you would want to knock that fucking dude out every time you saw him at the local bar. Think about it. You know a guy like that's not that rich. He's not on your side. That's the kind of guy who would steal your girlfriend, fuck your girlfriend, sleep with your sister, treat her like shit even though he says he was your friend. Like he's that kind of dude. He's a garbage person. And just because he's a billionaire doesn't make him better, smarter, cooler. Anyone who has that kind of money and isn't just unloading it into fucking charities and doing better is just, I don't like you. I don't like you. I never will. I don't care how fucking charming you are. You are the enemy. I love that he got booed at that Chappelle show. I don't know why Chappelle's bringing a fucking billionaire on stage. And people said it was 10 straight minutes of boo. Again, some idiot with a Twitter account just fucking hyperbolated out some thought, and it wasn't. I watched a couple minutes and went through. There was a decent amount of cheering and some booing and stuff, but I just love that he got booed. He had to buy a social media platform to get validation, which is not too unlike a lot of us who started social media profiles to get validation, but it just wasn't enough. Like, really think about what that guy thrives off of. He's a bottomless pit of need, and it's driven him towards insane success, but at the cost of everything and everyone else. He doesn't care about you. Don't be a fan of his. He's not a fan of you. I hope he loses all his money. Not all even, you know? If he lost everything but like $1 million, he'd still be fine. He'd see the rest of his life. He'd be fine. But I think it would be funny. I think anytime someone has an ego that big and is so reckless and greedy, it's never not funny when it just implodes. Like that FTX whatever guy, the crypto fucking dude with the crazy hair and the I'm an eccentric genius, just got arrested. Hey dude, fuck you. He thought he could get away with it. Fuck you. It's too rich. That's why it feels good. It's America. Make all the money you want. But regular people like me, not these I'm a fan of billionaires, fucking lunatic. Go cheer in fucking Vegas for the guy at the blackjack table. You're on the dealer's side. Fucking asshole. Anyway, we live in an interesting time. We're all really free in ways we weren't 10 or 15, 20 years ago. We have so much at our fingertips that we can use to make and express ourselves. It's not perfect. Still a lot that needs to improve, but dude, it's better than ever. Okay, so to not have a super ranty anti-billionaire, stop complaining about freedoms that you still fucking have episode, check out what I agreed to do when walking the dog today. The new dog, the puppy. He's wearing a fucking sweater. He hates it, and in a way I love it. It's like a big like fleece sort of thing. He's 6 fucking pounds and he's gonna get cold. So I was like, all right, it's like 33 degrees out. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll put it on him. And seeing his behavior, I now understand why some people have dog sweaters on their dogs. It's because it chills them the fuck out. And you have no idea how important that is when you have a 6-month-old lunatic in your house. He's crazy. He's adorable. He's awesome. But he tries to get it off and like rub it on like the ground. He's trying to like itch it off or sort of like, but then he just like gives into it and he ends up like calming down 30%. And it's really awesome. There's a video of him walking around, right? It's so funny the way he walks with that thing on. But that's like, imagine that times 4. Maybe jumping and running and spinning even more. That's like half of what he normally is on a walk because he's a puppy and he's fucking nuts. And I love it. And we didn't even go on a walk that was that long, but this was him after we got back and he laid like that for 45 minutes because he just gives up on trying to get it. Like he can't be free to just run around and jump all over the place. So he just lays there and he's just like, I mean, I guess this is fine. I don't know. And he just falls asleep. And the moment that thing comes off, he's like, I'm free. And then he like runs around like a maniac. I'm telling you right now, I have changed my mind about dogs in sweaters. He has been sleeping and not even in his crate for the whole entire recording of this and setting up and all that stuff easily for over an hour. Normally during the day, he is bouncing off the walls. He's trying to fight with Ricky. He's doing everything he can to just like get all his puppy energy out. That sweater is NyQuil. It's great. I'll probably never take it off of him. So to all you dog sweater people, I was wrong. There's not just the one reason where it's like, they look cute. It's also, they stop acting like psychopaths. And that's important. Grab one, go find one, get a holiday gift for someone you love, but also secretly for yourself and your own sanity. Okay. I'll see you later.
It's the end of the show. Like, subscribe, and comment. Don't be a dick.